Welcome to the Loveland Report and the Lone Ranger Show. I am Cleve Loveland, Central Florida's best real estate planner, alongside Bruce Woodburn, the Lone Ranger. We're going to give you all of your mortgage news, your real estate news, what's going on in the market. I got a couple of listings. I'm going to dive into a couple things I've been seeing out there. I want to talk about three things. Private listings. When somebody says that to you, what's that mean? Negotiating tactics, how to get the best deal if you're a buyer or a seller. Leapfrogging out of a house. What do you do first? We're going to talk about those. And what do you got for today, Bruce?
Well, I want to cover what the market's doing in terms of interest rates, because that's the hot topic. How has that affected your investments, but what's it doing to the market? And what loan programs are people really looking at right now? What is causing people to jump in the market? We've seen a big influx of people jumping in the market, and I want to really dive into why are they doing that?
Stock market's had probably the biggest swing it's had in a year, downward, and it's recovering a little bit. Today it's languishing, or yesterday it was languishing. But what's going on with the rates? I heard the bond market got hit again. Bond market got hit a couple years ago, and it was settling down, and we were seeing rates like 6.5, maybe going to get back.
So I can tell you this much: if you honestly, I do a lot of I do a lot of videos and training on what's going on in the market. So I try to hit it at a relatively simple level on the radio show, but I truly am a market geek. Like, I watch this thing all day long. Like, Cleve and I are in my studio. I've got charts going everywhere here. But I'm going to tell you something. Right? Like, last week was just not a good week for bonds or stocks.
Yeah.
They both took a hit. And typically it's a teeter-totter. If stocks are doing poorly, bonds are doing well. And if bonds are doing well, interest rates are getting better. Everything got shattered last week. But this week was much better. Now, we didn't recover what we lost, but recovered some of it.
Are we still below 7%? If you got
Absolutely,
a good,
you're below 7%.
Okay, all right. So it didn't skyrocket the rates
No,
back into the 7s
no,
or
it
8s.
did not.
Okay, like a year and a half ago.
No,
right.
It did not. As a matter of fact, I was pulling up rates for a client yesterday. I'm pricing my conventional loans out in the mid 6s. Okay, depending on whether you're paying any points or not,
Yep.
but in the mid 6s. I compared that with Rocket. I pulled up Rocket. They were 7 1/8 and 2 1/8 points.
Yep.
So,
well, you're always going to be better than them. Yeah.
People think that Rocket's the way to go, and it's just not.
But that's how they pay for their NASCAR team, their F1 team, and their stadium, their football stadium.
Well, and they just bought Redfin.
Yeah.
They just bought Mr. Cooper.
Okay.
And they bought one of Compass.
They're trying to
real
be
estate.
the 1,000-pound gorilla, controlling everything from the beginning of the house search to the money. They've even got, don't they even have the money app out there?
They got the money app.
They want to control what you're doing.
But I'm telling you something, when I see that money app, as much as I like the idea of the money app, you have to remember, Cleve, that when something is free, you become the
selling
product.
your data. Yeah.
They are selling your data.
And nowadays with AI, so you mentioned that around your phone, and you're going to walk home and you're going to see ads for everything, or you do something in the app like checking on mortgage rates, and you're going to get assaulted and called.
So one of the things I highly recommend that you do is, if you want me to help you with your mortgage, the first thing I do is my team puts you on an opt-out list with your permission. I send you the link because you need your social security number, but it keeps everybody from preying on you. They can't call you because you're on it. And it's different than the do not call list. It's an opt-out list. So you really need to do both. But when you do things for free, like TurboTax, Credit Karma, any of those free items, you have become the product.
Yep. Well, so we still got decent rates, but I think I looked at something the other day. I don't have the new numbers. They should be out next week. I thought I'd have them this week.
Yeah, I'm
but
surprised
inventory
they're
is
not out
kind of high. We're actually, depending on where you're at, you might be in a buyer's market, and so buyers are getting what they want. I just had a house, we priced it, and literally I talked to this gentleman about 6 months ago. He was going to be $379. We looked at what happened was he had about 20 more competitors around him and we're going to do it in the listings. It's a nice pool home, 2,000 square feet, great house. Well, great condition. And we're going to we were at 365 because there was 20 other homes between 365 and 379 where I talked about with him 6 months ago. Now that's still a profit for him. So it's not that the market's come down. I just thought where I could sell him based on traffic and inventory. And that's what's important, because I just went to another house. We checked and we went for 1.1 million because there's no competition around it. over by Bay Hill. So, and we checked other houses that are 3,500 square feet in good condition with a tile roof in a nice neighborhood with a fenced in yard. And we're priced very well on that one, but there's no competition. I'll know very quickly. Where I know that one in there, the pool house in Deltona, they got 30 competitors. We got to be you got to be the best one, because buyers don't have time to look at 20 homes.
No,
And they're not.
it's funny you say that, because I just had a situation this week and a client, literally the whole thing fell apart. I have my client, their VA, have them pre-approved to buy a home. Okay. They had to sell their home and they had a buyer for it.
Mhm.
Their buyer was also VA. Their appraisal from VA came in $35,000 short.
Ooh.
They agreed to sell the house to the veteran for the appraised value, but the veteran backed out. He had already spent $2,500 in inspections.
Even though he got the better price?
It made no sense whatsoever.
Huh.
So then my client didn't get the sale, so they couldn't buy. So
Yeah.
then the domino effect that happens on those things
Sometimes,
is incredible.
Well, you got to know what you're looking at too, but that
But
buyer
you know what?
missed
Here's
out.
what I don't understand. And I've dealt with this, and you have too. These VA appraisers, they are so sticky, and they think that they're doing the veteran a favor, and they're not doing anyone a favor. But they get this privilege of being a VA appraiser, and they feel like they're a god when it comes to that.
Are they
And
the ones that
it's
got
irritating is all get out, because I looked at the comparables. I think the house was worth even more than the original ask price.
maybe they'll get a regular buyer next time.
Maybe they'll get a regular buyer.
Conventional.
But you know what, though? But here's where, and this is where I'm a patriot. I don't like my veterans to be discriminated against.
Yeah.
And this is exactly why they're discriminated against.
All right. And Bruce, I've had something come up a couple times. I've talked to some people. I just took a listing, and actually they had been listed, at least, well, they thought they were listed before. They were with another realtor.
They were listed. They didn't
for 60
know if
days.
they were listed.
They didn't. They assumed they were on MLS. And the gentleman called me, and he's heard me on the radio, and he chose his brother's sister's cousin to list them. Didn't work out. And then I said, "Are you?" And I went over there, and there's a combo lockbox on the door. The other realtor had not taken off. He pulled and I don't know. Actually, I don't even know if they were a realtor, which means you are you're a member of the National Association of Realtors, not just a licensed salesperson.
With the
Make
code
that
of
distinction.
ethics.
Yep. And so realtor, but they were not in MLS. And this agent never told them they weren't going to go into MLS.
Can you believe it?
And he said he was doing advertisements. I think he had it on a couple of websites. He had it on his website, but they didn't know why they weren't getting any traffic. Now, what I did,
well, I can tell you that agent was probably trying to just double dip the deal. And
they think they're going to do that. You know how rare that is? Because we've got almost 20,000 realtors in Central Florida. It's very rare. I do less than 2% of my own listings every year.
Maybe if you are the queen of a high-end multi-million-dollar community, you might be able to.
You've got like five people.
Yeah,
five people waiting to get a house in this one neighborhood.
Exactly.
So,
but that's not the typical situation.
So, but the private listings just don't work. And I've seen some things about some of the websites not allowing private listings unless it's in MLS, which is kind of good for Realtor.com and Zillow to do that. Realtor.com is the MLS online, but it's very important you know what is the marketing plan, because of all the stuff out there. I can fly the Goodyear blimp over your house, Bruce, 5 days, 5 days a week, from Tuesday through Sunday, and do an open house every day of the week. If you're not in MLS, you're not getting exposed to all the buyers, because that's who's in the back of the car. The back seat of the realtor's car is a qualified buyer most of the time, and they want to drive around, and they're going to know that your house at 550 is a great buy, and I'm going to bring you an offer. So, but very important, if you got questions on this, somebody having trouble selling, have them call me at 407-352-8118 or go to cleveloveland.com.
Yeah. And for you to get approved for your financing, I've got the simplest, most streamlined process on my website, webringyouhome.com. I've got every loan program you could possibly ever think of. I will compare my interest rates against anyone out there. So why would you go anywhere else? I'll literally get on a Zoom call with you, and we'll pull up that company's rates and compare the two. If they're better and you think it's a better deal, go with the other company. I don't lose business because of that. My name's Bruce Woodburn. They call me the Loan Arranger. 35 years in the mortgage business, right here in your backyard. 407 407-250-9144. That's 407-250-9144, or webringyouhome.com. And, we got a little bit more to talk about this segment, but next segment, I want to talk about, is the refi market coming back? Because I'm seeing some signals, but I don't know if it's time to strike yet. So I want to talk about that in a little bit, but I want to move on to some other things that are happening right now. So we talked about buying opportunities. There's more inventory now. I don't know what, you didn't get your numbers, but I know the inventory is way up right now.
Depending on where you're at, you might have a 6-7 month supply around you, which means you have choice. Because the buyer, probably the past almost 2 years, Bruce, if a buyer has waited, depending on the neighborhood they're looking in, they might have missed one good one. But if they've waited, that one they like probably came down in price, because the average listing time now is almost 3 months.
Right.
So I'm running the
longest I've seen in years.
I'm running about 3 to 6 weeks. I went back and actually I got the numbers pulled up here from 2016. Our inventory, 2014 and 15, we had about the same inventory, but we actually had a few more sales back then.
Well, sure,
because
interest rates were lower.
They were in the 4s.
Yeah.
So and so I'm looking at inventory here. Like back in 16, we had like 9,000 listings, but we were doing almost 3,000 sales a month. Even in the slow periods during the summer, we shoot up to almost 4,000. 17, same thing, about 9,000 listings. 18, about 8,000 listings, slowly tightening there. Sales are climbing. Rates actually were climbing too. They were going towards the high.
Well, when I see a market like this, Cleve, what I'm seeing is a buying opportunity.
Yeah.
But what's happening is conventional wisdom out there, people that don't understand how money works, which is most people.
Yep.
I honestly think most Americans do not know how to leverage money.
Yep.
You overspend, you don't save enough,
yep.
and then you hope that things are going to work out at the end. You're living on hopium.
Yep.
But I believe
hopium. Hopium. Okay, let's go.
I believe that there is an opportunity right now, a buying opportunity right now. But a lot of people don't understand it because they think interest rates may be too high for them. So you have to look at where the opportunities are. And what is your reason for not getting in the market? Number one reason, affordability. So here's what you do. You negotiate higher on your sales price. Don't beat the seller up on sales price. Get concessions.
Get the cost paid
for.
Get
closing costs paid for, and let's do a buy down. I did a 2-1 buy down. I got a client at 4.75% for the first year. 4.75% for the first year. Then it goes to 5.75. Then it goes to 6.75.
But in that second year, he'll probably be locking in. So you got
2 years that you could gamble on rates going. And if they don't go down, you still got a 6.75. So why would you not do something in this market?
Yep.
The striking opportunity is absolutely there. Don't miss out on it. If you want to get yourself pre-approved, call me now. I'm right here, available, 407-250-9144, or webringyouhome.com. Cleve Loveland, the voice of real estate here in Orlando. You can always reach him at 407-352-8118 or cleveloveland.com.
Real quick, Bruce, we got about a minute and a half. I want to go over. I got a couple listings here, and these are all in the mid to low 3s. I've got
entry-level homes.
Lakefront home in Deltona for $340,000 with a pool.
Wow.
Lakefront. Now, not skiable. There's not many skiable lakes in Deltona. It's really a fishing lake. I've got St. Cloud, a newer style home, 3 bedrooms, 2 baths. Excuse me, that last one was 4 bedrooms, 2 baths, 2,000 square feet. The best price.
Good size house.
Best price waterfront home in Deltona. New roof coming with it. I've got St. Cloud. I've got a starter home.
At that one myself.
344,000, 1,300 square feet. Now, it's a newer style home. It's only 5 years old. And then I've got one in Deltona also. This is that pool home I was talking about. This gentleman, I talked to him like 8-9 months ago. And we were talking 379 maybe to list him at. We went at 365 because he's got like 30 new competitors. And you can literally see them, Bruce. They're lined up at 375, 374.9, 374.5. So we picked it right because he actually went and got, we'll talk about your builder.
He should have listed a year ago for you.
Nah, but time wasn't right for him.
Well, timing's everything.
What he went and bought, the builder gave him 20 grand off because he's going to be cash. So if you have any questions on this, call me at 407-352-8118. We'd love to help you with your real estate plan if you're buying or selling or you need property management.
Yep. Or call the loan arranger, Bruce Woodburn, Cross Country Mortgage. I've got everything you need. I've got the best possible programs. the most programs, the fastest streamline. I'll have you pre-approved. And if I don't close on your closing date, I pay up to $500 a day. 407-250-9144 or webringyouhome.com. We'll be back in 5.